All right. It's been a minute. Let me get turned around here so I feel right. I should get everything situated beforehand, but I barely even remembered I had a stream today. But I've hit the button. I think I've done all the stuff the right way, so I think I'm live. Let's see. Uncle Smiley's here. Welcome in. Skull Aquatics. Welcome in, Curtis. I completely forgot to pre-schedule the stream and came out here to do it. And I'm like, oh, I don't even have one scheduled. I had one scheduled for last week. Thought I would be able to do that. And then sickness comes upon at the worst times. Apparently, I pushed myself too hard at the Bluegrass Bash and weakened my system and wound up getting a respiratory infection thingy-mabob, and I couldn't really breathe without coughing, and talking was about out of it. And I thought I'll be better by Sunday, and I wasn't. I was going to try it anyways, and then got a couple hours from it and said, nope, this will not be a good stream if I was to do it. But I'm here this week. Barely. Sanders Aquatics is here. Welcome. Sketty Nona, welcome in. Scuba Steve, what's up? See Our Fish, Cheryl, welcome in. So yeah, I guess this is the first stream since the Bluegrass Bash. And it was something else. Those of you that went, I hope you had a good time. I don't know if I took it too serious or what, but I spent my whole time trying to keep things from, I say falling apart, but it wouldn't have fallen apart. I could have not been there and it still would have happened. But I try to, everything I'm involved in, I try to do it. If I have any control all over it, I try to do it the best that I can, try to make it the best. So when involved with this convention, I see a couple of things not happening the way they're supposed to, and I try to fix that. And then I see something else that's missing, and I try to fix that. And I just kept myself running quite a bit. Progenal Aquarist. If my memory serves correctly, that's Dawn. I'm poor with names, so it's probably not, but welcome in. Says, on the bus home from work, will say my hellos when I'm back at the computer. And everyone's saying hello, Dawn. So I guess I remembered somebody's name right. That's really rare for myself. I barely remember my own name. But even though I was working, like, I did the math as far as like steps and what my app said had calories burnt and all that kind of stuff. I did about 8 times the amount of work that I would do at my regular job. I still had a good time. Now, if you had asked me during the event, I wouldn't have said I was having a good time. But in reflection, I did have a good time. I got to see one talk. I was hoping to see at least 2 to 3. And I saw one and a piece of another one before I got called out to take care of some stuff. But it seemed, from what people were telling me, that everybody had a good time. There was a few little hiccups here and there, and I've thought about doing a kind of a behind the scenes, the stuff you didn't see type video. I don't really have a whole lot of footage of that because I wasn't running around with the camera saying, oh, this tank's leaking water, I gotta fix that. Here, let me video it. But I've got a few little clips, and it'd be more me talking, telling stuff, and tell the deep dark secrets, but not, whatever. Um, but I did book my room and registration for the OCA extravaganza today, so I'm looking forward to that. Going to a convention that I'm not having to basically be on call 24/7 and run here and there. Greet vendors at the door at 7 o'clock as pallets come in and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad Skull City had a good time, had a great time. I'm glad to hear that. I do wish that I was able to hang out more. That is, not getting to see the talks and stuff. That's, oh well. But getting to hang out with you all, that was the primary thing that I really wanted to do. I got to stop by a little bit, but not as much as I would like. I don't know when I'll get to see you all again and get to hang out. Like some people that I met at the Triple Crown, I haven't seen since then, or some people that I met at one of the Keystone Clashes, haven't seen since then, and may never get to see in person again. So it's always good to run into you all and to get to hang out and stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the OCA because I'll get to go and just enjoy that one as an attendee. Scotty's dropping in. Good evening. Driving home from the Fish Club meeting, catching up on Double Time. Scotty watches a lot of videos on Double Time, I have a feeling. I need to do better at that because I'm behind on so many people's live streams and videos and all that. I used to be in like certain people's streams every week. Every time they were on, I was in the chat. And not so much anymore. I seem like I'm missing all of them. The early ones I oversleep, and the late ones I fall asleep early and got stuff going on during the day. Welcome in, June. I think I mentioned you coming in earlier. But welcome. Fish Fam Links here. Welcome in. But I'm glad to have some, we'll say, downtime. Glad to get the convention behind me. It was a lot of preparation and build up to it, and like with planning anything, frustration. But I'm glad it happened. That it was a good time for pretty much everybody, and then we got it over with and handed off to Wisconsin for next year, and in talks with potentials for the year after that, and I've been asked to jump in on some meetings to help the future groups plan theirs of what hiccups did we come across and all that. So that'll be fun. Scotty says, if I cannot watch it live, I do my best to catch up from the beginning on Double Time. If I miss it altogether, I do my best to watch replay. Yeah, and that's better than what I do. Like if I come into a stream and they've already started and I've missed half of it, I've missed the first half of what's talked about, and I'm usually lost. I probably need to do the whole Double Time to catch up, but my attention span gets me lost. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can make it out to Wisconsin next year. The timing depends on when stuff's happening at work, because it's either hitting at a really good time or a really bad time, depending on which week my work decides to do stuff. And it's either that week or the week before that they're going to do it. So we'll see how that pans out. But for this year, I think all event wise, I didn't think I was going to make the OCA, but I've been able to pull a few things. I've got the one vacation day that I've scheduled for that Friday, and crossing my fingers, nothing else happens that I got to miss work between now and the end of the year. But that's something else. Deal with that whenever it happens, if it happens. Yeah, I've got that booked. Looking forward to that. That'll be probably the only other event that I do this year, besides like just the local club stuff of swap meets and auctions, and we've got a meeting coming up this Saturday, and a shop hop at the end of this is July. I got a whole nother month for shop hop. Woo-hoo. Planning the stuff gets me all confused too. But getting back to normal in here in the fish room, working on clearing out the spot over there. I talked about it before, that I've got room that I can probably fit some 10-gallon tanks, extra 20s over there. So I think I've got about 4 feet space over there. So I thought about putting this tank here. It's a 60 or 65. It's 55 footprint and a little taller. Thought about putting it over there, but I think I'm going to put some tins to work on a concentrated like breeding project. But I still got it was used as storage. Still is kind of used as storage. I'm cleaning it all out, organizing stuff, and opening it up for tanks. Curtis says he's planning on going to Wisconsin next year and catch the barbecue while he's there. Yeah, that's kind of my thought too, is if the barbecue lands on the last weekend of July, which will be the last weekend of July, 1st of August, that time frame, then the convention is the weekend right before that. I might could hit the convention, stay the week, and hit the barbecue before I head home. So that's kind of the written in pencil in my mind of what I might will get to do if all the stars line up correctly and everything. Sanders Aquatics asked about the jewels. So those of you that aren't familiar, I picked up some Turkana jewels from them at I think the last auction that we had, and they're doing great. They're growing, eating like none other like jewels eat. They're doing good. Can't wait to get them up and see about breeding those. That's something I don't remember if I've ever bred the Turkanas. It's if it was before I was ever keeping track of what I was breeding, because before I got the club started and doing all the Breeders Rewards program stuff, I bred fish and I traded fish and stuff, and I never kept track of what it was that I bred. I just bred the fish and went. Skull says Richard Reynolds is going to, and we plan to do some collecting. If you want to go and join with us, that'd be awesome. That sounds great. If I can swing it at all, I'm definitely planning on going. But with it being right there in July, it's either going to hit at the perfect time or the worst time for my work to get off work. So we'll have to see when work comes out with their official calendar for next year. It was clicking buttons. Yeah, June. I hate to hear about the house fire and losing everything like that. It's really rough. I know when I went through it, it was a hard time, and um, I hate that anybody has to go through that. You know, at times I'll smell things or hear things, whatever, and it pops in back like a flashback or whatever to that. And so hopefully you get recovered from all of that mess fairly quickly. I'm glad you can get some more of those, get them replaced. Um, Losing them is bad, but being able to replace them is a good silver lining, I guess. And my brain just went blank. I was fixing to say something, and I hate when that happens. Try to go back and remember what it was. Richard's going. Oh, Curtis, if you've got that link and you want to post it in the chat, I'm sure here everybody knows about the GoFundMe for Jen Skipper's wife. I believe I believe the GoFundMe is still going on. Last I looked, it was still up, and I know they've still got a long way to go with all the medical things. But anybody that isn't aware, Skipper's wife, so Skipper's Aquatics is how his channel is, but we all know him as Skipper. While they were at the Bluegrass Bash, his wife had a medical emergency, and the GoFundMe there tells all the details that they put out about what happened, and that it's going to be a long treatment and recovery process. And I hate all the, I guess the word's misfortune that's happening for everybody. You know, June had her disaster, and the Skippers are going through theirs, and different people have had different things. I said, as I was leaving the Bluegrass Bash, that's the first convention that I've been to that I know of that 911 was called 3 times, and more than one person left the event in an ambulance. And I hate that it happens at all. But to get 2 people to have to leave in an ambulance from an event, it's supposed to be fun and hanging out and fish and all that kind of stuff is horrible. Smells are a strong thing, June. She said the smell does trigger. Like, I got up one morning to go to work, and a house on top of the hill was on fire. And so it's like 3 streets over from me, but I could see it because it's up above where my house is. Just the fire in the night, because that's when mine burnt, was in the night. And the smell of the smoke, it was enough to set someone into like a panic attack. I didn't have one, but it could have happened pretty easily. And then last night, my oldest daughter decides in the middle of the night she's going to burn some popcorn. And burnt popcorn doesn't smell like a burning house, but it just kicked me the right way. Scotty asks, what all did you get from the bash? Personally, I tried not to get things. I tried not to come home with too many things. I did get, let's see, what did I get? 3 types of Limias, a new type of Hellerized Swordtail, Zophophorus milleri, I believe, and some other stuff I'm sure, but I don't remember. And I was able to source some stuff at the bash for the club, that we do the thing where we bring fish in to sell that you wouldn't normally see at pet stores, because a lot of our members, the only thing that they get to see is what shows up at the club and what's at PetSmart. So some of the rare live bears, some of the more unique cichlids or plecos or cories or whatever, was able to get some of those to bring to introduce to the members of the club. So we got some of those. I was wanting to do more like room sales, be able to go around and see what people had in the rooms and hang out in the vendor room more. But there apparently needed to be like 4 of me to be able to do all that stuff, because I was able to get to the vendor room a couple times and wander around a little bit. But it was usually when I was trying to either cool off from being in the fish show room, which, like this room here, was upper 70s, low 80s, and or I was going in there looking for something to take care of something else. Needed a banner to put out in the main hallway. Needed a piece of plexiglass for some lighting. Needed our water tank that got reallocated from the fish show room. Skull got CW 217s. The CW, I'm assuming, is a Cory catfish. I'm not good with the numbers to know which is which. I'm not good with Cory names to even know which is which. And is that Zophophorus guntheri? I'll have to look that one up later. I'm not familiar with that, what that one even looks like. I thought going into the bash, what was one of my, what was my wish list fish? If it's there, what fish am I looking for? And like I mentioned before, I didn't really have a wish list fish that I thought maybe it would have been the Montezuma swordtail males, but now my colony has developed males. Now they just need to develop the knowledge of how to breed. And I got Nezzy swords. They had been on my wish list, but I didn't get those at the bash. I got those previously at one of the club meetings I go to. And so it was just like, if I see other Limias or other Zophophorus, swordtails and platies that I don't have that are wild type, then I'll grab those. So I saw I got 4 types of Limias, because Skull helped me out with some tiger Limias that I had tiger Limias, but mine just decided they weren't going to breed anymore. They were just like cool being best friends and not wanting to do their thing. So he helped me out, and I picked up some tiger Limias from him. And so I got the tiger Limias, the sulfurs. I had some sulfurs, but I picked up some more. Zonatas and Dominicus or something like that. Start with the D. I've got it written down. The Zonatas I had heard of but didn't have, and the ones start with the D. I had read about them but hadn't really heard of anybody having those, so it was nice to be able to get those and try to get those breeding and stuff. And that's kind of what I do, is like I'm weird, I guess, that I try to get fish, try to breed it, and try to get it out to the people locally here, so that people here in Central Kentucky will have these different Limias, that they will have the different types of wild type swordtails and the cichlids and different stuff that I breed. If I could bring it in and be able to distribute it, get the local hobby boosted up more. And Uncle Joe's here. Welcome. It was good to run into you at the bash. Humpback Limias are great. I've got a tank of those that I almost depleted too far sharing them out, but they've started breeding back and building the numbers up. And that's part of why I want to put these 10-gallon tanks over to the side here as kind of a gauging my breeding and not just dipping out of my main colony to share them, sell them, give them out, whatever, and then look up and I have no males left. I have only 4 fish left or whatever. So by having a separate rack of, I can move fish over into that rack, and those fish are the ones that I can share out. That's kind of the idea that I have there. Mexicali's here. Welcome. Yes, Scotty, that's what Dominicism is. I haven't learned to say the name yet. I've read the name in my research of Limias when I was putting together my a presentation and for different stuff that I've written and stuff, but never like come across anybody that actually had them until this event. Which that's the great thing about the conventions, the ACAs, the ALAs, all that. People come together from all over the country and world and bring fish that they have to be able to share. And I know that, if I'm looking for a fish, that's a good place to find it. I searched for the Nanoludias, the yellow convict, for like 4 years. And then I went to an ACA convention and met up with 2 different people that had them for sale and got it from both people. And they were from different parts of the country so that the bloodline would be more diverse. And I was able to introduce them here to the local club. And we used them for our grow out fish last year. And now they're popping up left and right all over here and areas down in Tennessee where I've shared them as well. L Fish Tanks, welcome, welcome. But yeah, I had a great time at the bash. Now that I've set my goal to go to the OCA. I've booked my room, booked my registration. I can only go for arriving Friday and leaving Sunday, but that's better than nothing. And but hopefully some of you all will get to go to the OCA, and I'll get to hang out with you all. And maybe by that time I'll have this mess of a fish room straightened up and have me some free tanks to put stuff in. I'm realizing that my mollies have started breeding along with the plecos in my grow out tank. The grow out tank has started breeding themselves. And my Pseudomygil gertrudes are in there, and their egg production has dropped to next to nothing. And I believe they're getting snacked on by all of their tank mates. So I'm going to separate those out. Scotty says, "Hi all, just walked in the door, so not in chat." Yet he put that in chat. Okay. And there's Nancy B coming in. Welcome in, Nancy B. I was hoping to get to go to the Chattanooga swap. It looks like it's going to be a great time down there on the 25th. But I had other plans lined up for that weekend, so I wasn't going to get to go to that. And then I had something even bigger come up that I had to cancel those plans, which will prevent me definitely from going to the swap down there. Nancy says, "Am I saying Scotty lied in chat?" I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I get confused easily. Scotty says he's in and out of chat now since not driving, but got to put fish away. Well, Scotty, did you get anything cool, or was it just all killies? Yes, Nancy. Nancy says since I can't go, she should be able to make Chattanooga. And that's what I was saying in Whip's stream or Ed's stream or somebody's stream last night, I think it was, is they were asking if you were going to get to go. And I mentioned that since we're not allowed to be in the same place very often and I can't make it, that you'll probably get to be there. I can't say that we can't be in the same place at all anymore, since we were at the Bluegrass Bash at the same time. You know, I wasn't always around, and you had stuff you had to take care of too, but people did see us in the same place at the same time. So that whole Clark Kent Superman thing has been busted. But there's still some sort of something going on there that like I bet you were able to make it to the Nashville meeting when I wasn't yesterday. But I heard it was a good time. But I think the Chattanooga swap has. I had one person tell me that there was 70-something tables, and someone else tell me that there was over 100 tables already booked. So either way, that's a lot of spots for vendors. Let's see. Scotty got some of those cichlid things that Big Steve breeds. Nanochromis transits. Nanochromis transits. Something. Some isopods. Is it the aquatic isopods or is it the land isopods? Both are cool. Lemia perugiae for dirt cheap. A terrarium for cheap. And some plants for outside. Nanochromis transcriptus. Transcriptus sounds familiar, but there's probably multiple fish named transcriptus. I'll have to look those up later. Transvit. Okay, so it wasn't transcriptus, Scotty says. Transvit studious. Something. Nancy didn't make it to Nashville. She had to work. He kind of messed with it being on the second weekend also, and that's Why I didn't get to make it. I could have made it if it was on the 4th, but a lot of other people probably couldn't have. Um, but I had that day completely free on the 4th, and I could have made it to that one, but got tied up and couldn't make this weekend. I was looking to go to the Nashville club meeting. I knew I couldn't make that one. And then tonight, the Louisville club was having their post convention get together debriefing session, and I couldn't have made that. Had stuff going on. I wasn't able to make that one either. It's difficult for me to make the Louisville meetings. 2 hours from me and on a Sunday night makes it kind of rough. Scotty got some mystery snails for cheap also. So far, my Lemia Perugiers are breeding like crazy. So, if I can get all my other Lemias to breed like crazy like that, that'll be awesome. The humpbacks are trying, but when somebody's dipping them out faster than they can spit them out, then they don't make much progress. Nancy asked if Scotty's going to name all the mystery snails after Annette. And it looks like he may be. I had big plans for my tubs this year. And I started putting stuff out, and I think the raccoons are getting to them because the fish are disappearing. The floating mops are getting demolished. The airlines are getting taken apart. And so I've kind of put the brakes on that and said, okay, I see some issues that I'm facing, and I'll probably just keep it where it is and plan to rework it for next year and probably put like some fencing or covering or something. Because I wasn't sure what was doing it. I started talking to a guy at the Bluegrass Bash, the person that was like right next door to me in the hotel rooms, and told him what troubles I was having with the tubs of what I was seeing, and he started telling me before I got to it of other things that were happening. I'm like, yeah, how do you know that's happening? He goes, oh, that's typical raccoon behavior. And I didn't think about it, but yeah, I have raccoons. There's wooded area, not too far behind my house, and it's full of raccoons, and they're coming down and having fun in my tubs, I believe. So I need to work on fencing or netting or something there. There's Nick Hardwater coming in. Welcome in. It was good to meet you at the convention at the Bluegrass Bash. And again, everybody ought to get their scheduling together and get it all mapped out and everything to make it to the OCA extravaganza in November. There's plenty of time to plan it out to get there, and we can have a good time again there. And I won't be running around like crazy trying to make sure that fish tanks have labels on them, and if they don't leak faster than I can get them filled up, and people quit stealing my water buckets. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to make the telling the tales from behind the scenes video. I don't think I'll be able to tell all the things that were happening because some of the, what's it called, interpersonal interactions would probably get me in trouble if I discuss those. But I've got a clip of, and I'll go ahead and spoil it because this is going to be a part of the video, but I'll tell it. Pallets of stuff showed up. You know, like you lift with a fork truck. They're about 4 feet high and wrapped all in plastic. And it was like the stuff that was all on like Zoom Ed's table and stuff. They shipped it in. It came in FedEx. So I got up Tuesday morning out there to meet them at 7 o'clock, put it in the main lobby there. And I said, no problem, we'll get the pallet jack from the hotel and move it. And I didn't think about the little narrow hallway that kind of slopes to the one side and slopes up to. And then asked the hotel staff, and they don't have a pallet jack. So I've got a clip of the video that we had like 8 guys following the big cart they stack tables on, that we have lifted the pallet, manually lifted it up onto the cart and pushed it up that hallway. And it was a lot more entertaining in person than it is in the video, because the cart tried to get going sideways and trying to make the turns and get it on and off. It was entertaining, and I wish I had got footage of the whole thing. I guess if we ever do this again, I'm just gonna wear like a body cam the whole time and just edit out the stuff that's inappropriate for viewers. Let's see. Nancy B says plenty of time to camp out in Mr. and Miss Hardwater's backyard between the convention and the cookout too. Yeah, if the I'm hoping the cookout is that following weekend, and that I can get off and everything lines up, that I have the finances, have the time off, and it all winds up together, winds up working out right. Sanders Aquatics says, sounds like it should be a good video. I'm gonna try. I don't like making videos where it's just me sitting there talking, but it seems like I'm making a lot of those videos. I need to figure out how to do more B-roll footage and video and stuff when I'm doing stuff. Shy Savage Cichlids, welcome in, welcome in. It has been a very long time since I went camping. I enjoy the idea of camping. The thoughts going through my head, though, it's been many decades since I went camping. And although my mind says that everything bodily works the same way as it did 20, 30 years ago, when I try to stand up from the floor, it reminds me that I'm not in my 20s anymore. Things don't work the same. So I don't know if, how I would do after sleeping on the ground camping. But it sounds fun. Let's see. Dawn made it home. Glad you made it home safely, Dawn. Scotty says he thinks his Limia had babies on the way home. I cracked up. I spent too much time in that fish showroom at the convention. There was I believe it was a chap, Philippines Perdalis, a Goodiad, that was entered in to the Live Bearer show as a solo fish. And shortly after it was placed in its display tank, its show tank, and the owner left for the evening, it gave birth to about 15 fry. So people came in questioning, was it supposed to be a family entry? Because the ALA has a class for family live bears where it's a male, female, and a handful of fry. But no, it was a an individual entry that gave birth during the time. I don't know if that counted off when they did the judging. I know that in the cichlid show, one of the entries, one of the people put two cichlids in the tank when it was only supposed to have one, and it got counted off for that. But you wouldn't think that they would count off on live bears, because live bears just, that's part of their nature, is to give live birth. June says, I like the idea of my room. I think I missed something. Oops, and now I'm messing stuff up. Trying to scroll through the comments to see what I missed, but Curtis says, I have an air bed that I inflate with the pump of my truck. I'm not laying on the ground. Yeah, I've got, which I haven't used in a long time, I've got a inflatable mattress as well. On my luck, I would be sleeping in it, and it would like deflate and encase me. Oh, June's comment, she likes the idea of her room. That I said I like the idea of camping. Yes, I like the idea of my room too. But the idea of being out in nature and camping, I enjoyed it when I was younger and was able to do it more often. But anymore, I worked so much, and when I'm not working, sleeping in my own bed is a benefit, or a something to look forward to. Or I'm running off to fish clubs and fish conventions and swap meets, all that kind of stuff, and I typically don't like the idea of like camping and then running to go do something rushed the next day or whatever, especially if it involves fish, because wanting to take fish with me or bring them back, having them out in nature for long periods of time isn't the best for the fish. So I haven't got to do it much. The Zen Ginger made her way in. Welcome in. Yeah, I almost missed this stream that I completely forgot that today was Sunday and what time it was. And then my kid said, don't you have a stream today? I'm like, oh yeah. And then I get out here to set everything up and realize I didn't even schedule the thing. So we're lucky that I even made it to my own stream. Another set of good news with the Bluegrass Bash is the people in my club that helped out with it are asking when we can do another convention, whether it be ACA, ALA, or we just put together our own thing. So the fact that they enjoyed it and are looking for when we can do another one is a good thing, because a lot of times the clubs will do the events and then they just don't want anything to do with the convention for quite a while and have to recuperate. But my group apparently enjoyed what they were doing. Some of them, if you would ask them at the time, didn't enjoy it because it was a lot of work for them. But they like the idea of doing it or a similar event again in the future. So that's something to look forward to down the road. I don't want to do anything like next year, but hopefully we can get something pulled together in the future and get all of you all back to the area and hang out again. Apparently, Chattanooga Swap's the place to everybody's going to go hang out without me, because I heard Ed was talking about the naming off different people that were going to be there. There, Nancy B's asking Uncle Smiley. She thought she had seen that he was going. He replied, "Yes, he's planning on it." Well, of course, because I can't go. Everybody gets to go have fun. I'm going down to the Chattanooga Swap and then hang out. I'm sure it'll be a good time to go down to the aquarium and walk by the river and stuff. Nancy asked if I can order less heat and rain for the next convention. I wish. And less construction. The interstate construction is horrible, still horrible, and they've been working on it for a while, and I thought surely they'll be done by the time that June rolls around. No, they're still going. And the rain, that was crazy. I'm glad we didn't see in Lexington what like the next county south saw, where people's houses were washing away. Where, unfortunately, people lost their life in the floodwaters, and buildings were pushed completely off foundations, and roads were washed away. It was a mess. Luckily, we didn't have that during convention in Lexington. They had some flash flooding the week before in Lexington, but this type of rain, how we're getting it now, isn't normal for this time of year. This area, it's like the climate's shifting, and we're turning into a tropical rainforest or something, getting monsoons. But I would like to have another, if not a convention or something, another get-together type thing, just to get all of us together in Kentucky, Tennessee area, whatever. It seems like it's easier for people to get to this type of area than it is to, say Florida or New York or somewhere, even Texas or somewhere that way. Of course, there's exceptions. I know there's people in Florida that's easier for them to get to Florida. People in Texas, it's easier for them to get to Texas. But for the general overall, looking at everybody, Nancy says, "I'd like to actually go collecting without butt level muddy flooded creeks." Yeah. With them flooded, I'd say it's hard to do anything. Zan, you're trying really hard. Northeast Texas is still kind of centrally located. Geographically, it is. Yeah, I gave you that. Population wise, you got to kind of swing it more towards the east. The population of our community isn't as strong towards the west as it is towards the east, and I don't know if that's just reflective of the general population of the whole country or just in our community. But it would be nice to get back to Texas. I haven't been to Texas in 15 years, probably. Nancy says, Zen just wants to brag about being from East Texas. I liked Texas when I was there. I didn't get to see much of the state, but I guess that's a good thing. There's a lot of it. So there's always something more to see. But for the parts that I saw, I liked it. Like I said, I wouldn't care to go back sometime, but it is a quite a bit of a trip. Well, apparently, there's something about East Texas that I don't know, so I'll leave that be. But so I'm also looking at going potentially to Florida next year. Um, there's the AKA conventions down there in the Tampa area, and then a little further south, there's another fish event that I've been looking at. Then there's the Wisconsin thing. I'm going to try to do the OCA next year. There's a lot of things I want to do next year, and not enough days or time to do it all. So we'll have to see what happens next year. Nancy's been to Austin, Dallas, and seen the Houston airport. That's more than I've been to. I've been to the Dallas and Fort Worth, right in that area, and then the areas that connect to be able to get there and back out. We went up through Oklahoma and did some stuff, did some work in Oklahoma, and then back down through Dallas and stuff once. And then another time I had a convention that I went to in the it wasn't in Dallas or Fort Worth. It was in another little town right there, but I don't even remember the name of it. Redneck, New York. So Texas is like Redneck, New York. See, I would have thought Texas would have been the complete opposite of New York. Oh well. But yeah, this week will be a little busy. Got to get my stuff together for the club meeting on next Saturday. Get myself back in track of how to have club meeting and stuff, because we haven't had one in a little while because of the auction and the bash and native collecting and all of that. Get back in the swing of having club meetings and getting that going. You got to plan out the rest of the year for the club. But hopefully I get to see you all at the OCA. That's not that far from Texas. In you drive up to the OCA. That you didn't get to come to the Bluegrass Bash. I'm sure Nancy will come join you. But we're right here at the 7 o'clock mark, and I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming out and hanging out with me and supporting the channel. Wasn't expecting many people to be here since I hadn't pre-scheduled it. Didn't stream last week, and kind of forgot about it myself. But it was awesome to see everybody jump in here and hang out for a little bit. And Nancy's talking, trying to get Zen to come to Chattanooga. Well, that's close. Shy Savage Secret says it's only 60 to go another hour. I wish I could. I've made commitments that I have to do tonight. So before I procrastinate again for another hour, get in trouble for that, I will say it's been good seeing you all. Thank you all for stopping by, supporting and stuff. And I'm not sure who's up next to go live or whatever, but we'll see you next time.